Welcome to the Straight Talk Podcast with Johnny Mo. I am Johnny Mo, a retired Air Force C-130 flight engineer, son, father, husband, and brother. Alcoholic, 12 years sober, suicide survivor, 4 years. This podcast is my therapy for PTSD and anxiety, and I challenge all of you listening to raise awareness of veteran suicide and the struggles that many of us go through when transitioning to civilian life. Today's guest is the War Machine, Chris Zwetzig, retired lieutenant colonel. See, I already messed it up. Retired lieutenant colonel, 28 years of service, 7 years on active duty, all of his time as a C-130 Navigator, and proud to call him my friend. And I spent 50 plus missions with him over Iraq, Afghanistan, a couple hush-hush ones that were pretty funny we might talk about. And yeah, he is a huge fan of the Twizzlers.
Yes, I like the Twizzlers.
Cannot tell you how many times we had to stop en route and pick up Twizzlers for him. But yeah, he's going to be my guest today. So, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
You sure?
Hey, I didn't know that you were a suicide survivor.
Yes, sir. 4 years ago, 1 year after retirement, man. My darkest day, it was a fight with the wife, an argument that, like no other. And I just remember her saying, fuck you, and nobody wants to be around you, and your kids don't like you. And when the fuck are you going to change? You've been sober for 8 fucking years now. You've been retired for 1, and when's things going to change? And I went and got my truck and my pistol and went down to the bar here on the corner and debated buying a bottle of Jack and chugging it right there in the parking lot and suck starting that 45. Luckily I didn't. I went down to an AA meeting, cried for about 2 hours with a buddy of mine, got up the next morning, called the VA and said, hey, I almost suck started a pistol last night. I don't know what to do with myself. And she said, please hold. So,
no kidding.
No kidding.
Oh,
no kidding.
Right.
So the sick, demented fucking me put the pistol down and said, where are you going to send me? And I talked to them, and then I went right across the street to my doctor, and I said, look, I need to see somebody now because I'm fucked up. Turns out it was a adverse reaction to the meds that the VA had me on, and I withdrew cold turkey because I had an incident up at the VA and they didn't renew it. And they had just told me the week prior that based on what I told her, there's nothing she can do for me up there. So that started my down. So I got some help, got some Valium or whatever she gave me. She hooked me up with a really, really nice lady at Allman Behavioral Health up in Canton. She had done about 3 years in the VA. She knew it. She knew how we acted, how we were, what we thought, and went on private practice. And she really helped me a lot. And I've been seeing them ever since. So, yeah, I still have moments, still have thoughts, but, that's on the Darkest Day podcast. And thanks for bringing it up right away.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
No, I didn't mean, I didn't know you didn't know that. So, guess you'll have to go back and listen to my podcast.
Yes. Well, I haven't been watching your podcast other than the Christmas Eve mission one, but just which was entertaining, by the way.
Especially for us that were there.
It brought back a lot of memories.
I'm sure it did.
Pleasant,
I'm sure it did.
Some not so pleasant, but well, I'm glad to hear that you failed in your endeavor there.
I did.
And or succeeded by going to and getting help. I don't know how you want to look at that, but that is a success story, and that's that's a good thing.
It makes me more capable, more knowledgeable to help others. I work with Save 22, and that we get phone calls all the time. I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. My wife's leaving me. I'm an alcoholic. I'm addicted to opiate, whatever. And I think it makes me more qualified to talk to those guys, because I understand. I know what it's like to hold that fucking pistol in your hand and say you're going to fucking end it. And I know what goes through your head, which is nothing but selfishness. I wasn't thinking about my wife and kids at the time. I wasn't thinking about walking my daughters down the aisle, which, by the way, last year, both my daughters got engaged. So,
oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about who had to find me, the cleanup, the trauma that they have to go through. Fortunately or unfortunately, a very good friend of mine killed himself on December 30th. And I was there. Not when he did it, but I was there the next morning. My buddy called me at 8:08, and I'll never forget. He just said, "Wake up, I need you." All right, what's up? And he said, "Mike killed himself last night. I'm going over right now." Okay.
Yeah.
So we were over there and cleaned up, and having to see that, the after effects, it puts a different perspective in your head. Like everything that you have to go through as a remaining family member, I don't want to put anybody through that. I hadn't thought mine out. I hadn't planned it out. I hadn't, adjusted my bank accounts. I hadn't left notes. I hadn't done any of that stuff. Excuse me. Mike didn't either. Mike made a split decision that night and did it. So, now we're stuck with the cleanup. We have to remove the carpet, the bed, clean the walls, find his insurance, find his will, figure out the house. He had a special needs son. We had to find a place for him. Luckily, the other son took him in, and, it's just the pain might be over for the veteran at that time or the individual that does it, but it leaves a lasting pain and emptiness and questions with those left behind. And I don't think I could do it now. I mean, I think about it, but they're fleeting, Yeah. So, hey, welcome to the fucking podcast, Chris.
Well, I'm sorry I turned the whole thing back on you right at the start. I certainly didn't mean to do that.
So let's talk, man. 28 years as a C-130 flight engineer. So you flew the C-129, which was the predecessor to the 130, because you're that fucking old, right?
No. First of all, you're the flight engineer. I'm the navigator.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Sorry. You're the navigator.
Have you not had your coffee this morning?
I had 3 of them, and apparently it's not enough, which, by the way, is from Iron Bean Coffee in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh,
check them out.
All right. Is that one of your what do you call
little
it?
plugs?
Commercials?
They are a veteran-owned small roast company that I got into their coffee with Josh on my last podcast. He owns a coffee shop down in Dover. He buys only veteran-owned coffee businesses. They're out of Toledo. And then Tuesday, I did an interview with Amanda Held from Hooves, which is helping our veterans equine services. She does like horse therapy and retreats for 4 days for veterans once a month. Currently, they're only running through April and October, from April to October. But she's out of Toledo, so she uses Iron Bean Coffee. So, I just like to plug the guys that give a crap about us veterans, and maybe somebody will use them. So.
All right. Iron Bean Coffee. I'll have to remember that.
Roger that.
I bought coffee from the Black Rifle Coffee Company before. They're pretty good.
They are. And you know what? We've all used them. Everybody knows them. And the reason that us smaller people like to use the mom and pops is you haven't heard of them yet.
Yeah.
So let's build them.
I'll have to give it a shot.
Yeah, give them a shot. Yeah, tell them Johnny Mo from the podcast sent you.
Johnny Mo. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
hey, so 28 years as a navigator.
Yes, all on C-130s. No, none of that C-19 stuff. None of that. I'm not that old. I don't think I'm much older than you.
I don't think you are. I turned 50 this year. I think you're only a couple years.
Yeah, I'll turn. Let's see here. Let me do the math. I'll turn 54 in August.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And look, you did it without taking your shoes off this time.
Well,
I'm so
yeah.
proud of you.
Well, nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
Right, right.
Well, as far as you know, maybe I'm wearing pants, maybe I'm not. I don't know.
You know what? Same goes for you. Maybe I'm wearing pants, maybe I'm not. So where'd you start out at on active duty? Where'd you start?
I started at, I was very fortunate. I started at Rhein-Main in Germany.
Wow.
And that was my first choice. And I was very lucky that I got that assignment, and I really enjoyed that assignment. The only downside to that was there's a lot of beer in Germany.
Yes, there is. And you
And
tried to drink it all.
I pretty much tried to drink it all. Yes. I don't know. I was probably borderline too much, but that's another story. And
No,
then
bring it up, man. A lot of people listen to this. So tell me
well,
about some of your exploits with too much Bavarian beverage.
oh geez. Well, the problem with it is when I drink too much, I get a little. It's a very fine line. I'm sure that you remember from your drinking days. There's a very fine line to when I was fun to the point where I was obnoxious and belligerent.
Yes.
And the majority of the time, I crossed the line, and then I would become obnoxious and belligerent. Fortunately, I never did anything. I did drink and drive. I don't do that anymore. Fortunately,
No, it hurts too much, man.
Well, yeah. Fortunately, I never hurt anybody else. Number one, and I never hurt myself. So I just got to a point in my life that I decided that that's going to kill me if I don't either quit or just really stop doing it so much. So I didn't give up drinking, but I gave up drinking excessively.
Right.
So, well, one of the guys in the unit here was an alcoholic, and they found him dead on the side of the road in the ditch. And that was about the time where I said, yeah, that's going to happen to me.
That was another flight engineer.
Well, there was a pilot, the one that I remember.
Oh, really? When was that?
It was like, oh geez, probably 16 or 17 years ago now. It was before I got married. Like maybe might have been right 2000, 2001 maybe.
So probably just right before I got there.
Yeah, that'd be 20 years, I guess now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna, because I was doing some,
heavy partying.
Yeah. So I stopped doing that. But anyways, I moved to the squadron moved from Rhein-Main to Ramstein in 1994, and I moved with it, so I got to stay another 2 years in Germany.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
So I spent 5.5 years in Germany, and then I came right to Youngstown in November 1996.
So you didn't have a break at all?
No. Well, I was a reserve bum for 6 years, so I just worked part-time essentially. I was single, so I didn't really have anybody else to worry about other than myself. So if I didn't want to go on a trip or I didn't want to fly, other than my UTA and that, I didn't.
So for those that don't know, a reserve bum, especially in the flying world, they hurt for mission members, crew members during the week. And, if you want to be a bum, they'll put you on the schedule and you can fly. Now, unfortunately, as a navigator, if you're just doing touch and goes, it really, really sucks. But if you're doing ski missions or out and backs or, delivering beans and bullets or something, you can have a pretty good life with it. And obviously Chris did, because he made it 6 years and he's still here. So there's a lot of guys that still do that.
A lot of guys still do it. Yeah. Especially now with all the flying and everything else going on, deployments and everything else. But
well, people are getting cut back from the civilian pilot job, their civilian crew jobs, and they need some income, and they can go fly out there and give orders and grow their penis size, I guess.
Yeah.
But we can say that because we're retired now.
Well, yeah. So I was a part-timer for 6 years, 6.5 years. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then in, let's see here. I can't remember what year it was. I got hired as a technician.
So you were a full-time reservist, essentially Monday through Friday, and then once a month you did your UTAs.
That was right around 2002, I think, because it was right before the 757th got activated. So that would
So
have been.
we got activated in.
Well, we got activated.
We
You
got
and
activated December of 03.
We
I
did,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was hired before that, but I don't remember if it was 2002 or 2001. I don't remember.
I think it was 3 because in September of 2002, I went down to JRTC. I think you might have been there.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah. And then I broke my shoulder, separated my shoulder down there, and then had to come back and have surgery. And I didn't get on the first activation in February of 03. I got on the second one in December. So interesting story. The same day we found out we were pregnant with my son is the same day we got activated.
Oh, yeah. Because we got activated. I think it was December. Well, I did December 11th, 2003.
Yeah.
So,
and then we did 2 years.
And then we were gone.
We were gone right away.
I was gone
they wanted us
2 days later.
They wanted us to leave on January 1st, and I'm thinking, no, I'm not flying with anybody on January 1st, especially these guys if we're going to the desert.
Yeah.
Not happening that day, fellas.
Yeah. I remember I got once I found out we were going to get activated, we got married. Dawn and I got married December 9th. Then we were activated on the 11th, and I think we were gone within a couple weeks. I don't remember. I think it was before Christmas.
It was quick. Yeah, we were over there for Christmas. Yeah. Or no,
I was.
You might have been on the support team or something and went over before Christmas, because I left after.
Yeah,
I left like January 2nd or 3rd. But where was that? That was Bishkek, right? That was
we went to Bishkek.
Yeah, we went to Kyrgyzstan. Ken Pauly and I talked about that. You have to watch Ken's interview. That by far for he and I is one of our best deployments, we think, because of the mission that we had and the things that we did. And, we got a outstanding unit with Valor for that trip. And that one means a lot to us.
Yeah, I remember our first, I think it was our first mission. We were flying into Afghanistan, and we landed in Bagram, and we hit a pothole or something.
Yes.
Blew a couple tires. And that was our first mission, because I'm pretty sure we had the observer on board with us, because the ELT is going off and we're skidding down the runway, and we're like, well, what the hell just happened, And so we didn't know. So we were all running off the airplane, and I'm telling the guys, don't run into the grass,
right?
Because they told us it's mine, So we're all on the runway. I'm pretty sure it was Bagram. It was, I know it was before it was built up, because there was only one runway, and it was dark. It was the darkest I've ever seen it. So we got off the airplane, and then they trucked us all in. And I remember the ops group commander coming up to us asking the pilot, hey, you going to be able to taxi that thing off the runway? I got airplanes waiting to land, A-10s or something like that, I think it was. And he's like, well, no, sir, that's not going to happen. We're kind of,
got it stuck.
Got a couple of blown tires. And he's like, well, we're going to need to bulldoze it off the runway, And the pilot, we're just looking at this guy going, what? And he goes, sir, I think you better rethink that. That's like a $30 million airplane. I don't think that's a good idea. He said, yeah, I should probably have him divert,
Yeah, you might want to divert, right?
Might want to have him divert, So, and then I remember the DO flew over, and because we talked to him a couple of days later, he heard the ELT go off, and he's like, well, what happened? They had no idea. They didn't know how bad it was or whatever it was. And I, we got a good laugh out of it now, but at the time, first mission in country, we basically hit a pothole, and it was interesting.
It wasn't just a pothole. If I remember right, that thing it was like a mortar hit or something. And it blew a whole chunk out of the runway.
Yeah, it was pretty big, because I know we spent the night in at least one, I don't remember. And then they brought in the MRT team in like the next day, and we were fixed. But yeah, I forgot about that until just now.
That's what happens when we get together, man. You start remembering shit and you're like, wow, I did do that. Holy cow. The hell's wrong with me? It was back in my younger days.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was first deployment. First big deployment. Yeah,
First big deployment. I think that's the trip too, where didn't we get a rocket up an engine?
That wasn't me. I remember that. I wasn't with you. I was with Charles Walker.
Well, I wasn't a engineer then. I was a electronic warfare troop, and I ended up being expediter, whatever you want to call it, for maintenance back then. So, and then right after that, I got the first sergeant gig, and then after that, I got the flight engineer gig. So,
yeah, I don't remember any of that. But then again, if it didn't happen to me, I don't really tend to remember.
Right. Yeah. Well, being maintenance, you know, we caught a bird in the whole leading edge, and it put a hole in it and broke some wires, and we, you know, had an airplane down, broke a windscreen one time from hitting a turkey vulture or something over there. Something huge just shattered the windscreen on one of the airplanes.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of maintenance going on. We were with who were we with? Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Alabama.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
We were with them at that time, and I think we took over for Pittsburgh and somebody.
I remember it was Alabama because I remember we were on the crew bus one time and we flew with the flight doc. Flight doc was with us. And all of a sudden I just started talking about, I started talking about our physicals and how you had to fill out that form. You know, You had to go online and fill out that form. How many beers a week do you drink? And I was like, you know, if anybody told the truth on that thing, we'd all be grounded. And I remember the doc just looking at me like, what? I go, yeah, nobody tells the truth on that thing. Nobody. And I think he just kind of turned towards the window and was just looking out the window. Chose to ignore it, I guess.
He was so naive, thinking we actually answered the questions truthfully on that shit. How many hours of sleep do you get? 8 every night religiously, 8 hours. No problem.
Night, 8 hours.
Every night. No, how many beers? 3 a week. That's it. No more than 3. 2 6-packs a month. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah,
2 6-packs an hour. I flew with the flight doc at on our last deployment in 11 and 12. I flew with him, and he reminded us of the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man.
Oh yeah,
remember him? Yeah. And man, as soon as we get airborne, he starts pulling out bags of fucking Motrin and Ambien and whatever. He's like, all right, who needs what? You remember those?
Yeah, that was a flight doc here in Youngstown.
Yeah, that was ours. Yeah.
I can't remember his name. He had the black bag.
Yep. He pulled out who needs what. Yep. Yeah, he was awesome. Helped us out a lot.
Yeah, I know who it is, but I won't mention his name.
Nope, I won't either, just in case he's still in. So you got to Youngstown, you got married just before we left, and Dawn actually is very good friend. I think sorority sisters, I think, right? With one of my friends that I went to school with.
Tina Bradley, yeah.
Tina Giello, whose brother Bruno Gunn is a movie star.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome dude. Small world, man. Small world.
It is a small world, yes.
So go ahead.
I was trying to tell her who you were, and I said, well, we went out to his house when he retired. Tina's friend. Oh yeah, you know, she's like, oh yeah, okay.
I do the same thing with Trish, and she's like, who? I'm like, War Machine, Twizzler guy, came to the retirement. Oh, we went to his. Oh yeah, okay. No, she has no idea.
I don't even remember how I got that nickname, War Machine.
I don't remember, but I know we put it up, you know, a couple, 3-4 times.
Yeah.
I remember.
I have some of the paperwork we used to fill out that said War Machine, that has War Machine on it. I just so everybody knows it's a joke. I'm not a War Machine.
Yeah, he's not a War Machine. He's one of the most passive individuals ever. He's the one that kept us straight. He was the glue that held that crew together.
I don't know about that, but
well, you held me together quite a bit. So,
well, that was mutual, I think. Between the Twizzlers and going to have breakfast on our days off and just walking around the base. I think that was mutual, buddy.
Oh my God.
In fact, I know it was mutual.
boring ass life over there sometimes, man, 120 degrees and I got to walk a mile to the laundry,
Yeah.
And Rod McLean, the shitter king.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Didn't he write a professional complaint?
Mold in the showers, 1,500 people sick with dysentery in 24 hours.
No toilet paper.
How many?
No toilet paper.
No toilet paper. Everybody was out. Rough. I mean, we say it was rough. It was rough by Air Force standards. We didn't.
Oh yeah. Oh, by all means, it wasn't that bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. But hey, let's talk about that Christmas Eve mission real quick, shall we?
Sure.
So you and I and the crew, which was a pilot, co-pilot, and 2 load masters, Chelsea and Balloon Knot, were our load masters, and I'm not going to mention our pilot, just in case he ends up listening. Didn't get along real well. It was a rough crew, man. I came in halfway through. Paul Miller decided that he was going to be the duty engineer like I was the first half, and I was going to take over with we'll just call him Justin as the pilot, who was I think he was a brand new aircraft commander or brand new instructor. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
But he questioned everything I did, everything, told that climb out factor.
Question what I did too was,
Well, I never paid attention to what you did. You just tell me where we're going, and when we get there, we'll be fine. But yeah, he questioned a lot of stuff, and Christmas Eve was no exception to that. We flew out over that. I never remember that body of water we flew out before we turned left to go up the route, and he's complaining about a vibration, and I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Brian doesn't feel it, the co-pilot. And a couple hours in, he's like, man, I really feel it now. And I'm like, all right. So, I put my fingers on the throttle quadrant and condition levers. I feel it in the number 3 throttle. And I tell him, all right, if we want to shut it down, let's shut down closer. It's not hurting anything. It's still performing. Let's get up closer to Afghanistan. And then we'll just, land right into Kandahar and get it fixed. But when I told him to use the emergency shutdown procedure, which is to pull the T handle, he said, no, I'm going to use the condition levers. Mm-hmm. And at some point I said, Nav, mark the tape. Pilot, you're clear to shut down number 3 using the condition levers. Tell my wife and kids I love them, because my pilot fucked up. So what'd you think about that when that came over the radio? Because all I remember is, holy shit, it got deathly quiet. Because he turned around and looked at me like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the whole situation. I remember the pilot, and I think the term you used was narcissistic.
Yes.
Which yes. I had to look up. I'm not that bright.
Hey, you're the one with the degree.
But well, that doesn't mean I'm that bright. I mean, you ought to know that. And I thought, well, that pretty much explained it in one word. I do remember shutting the engine down, and my thought process is, where are we going to land?
Right.
That was my job as the navigator. Where are we going to divert to? How are we going to get in there? So
well, where we were when we finally shut down, we were over Pakistan, and supposedly we were only about 45 minutes out from Kandahar.
Yeah.
But our two engine service ceiling over the Hindu Kush was like subterranean. It was like 12,000 feet.
Yeah.
So when you're flying on 3, you have to be aware of your terrain with 2 in case we have to shut down another one. Now we could have flown on 2, just not over the mountains.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bagram had maintenance for us. Kandahar had J model maintenance, I think, or gunship maintenance. I don't remember, but they didn't have H model maintenance.
No, I remember that. It wasn't H model maintenance.
Right. So we're over Pakistan and we shut it down, and man, it was just, I think we were all just pissed off.
I do remember the piston contest with the pilot, but what was said, I don't.
Right.
I may have just tuned it out, or was just trying to concentrate on what my job was at the moment, and
yeah,
with my fingers crossed, going, geez, I hope John's wrong. We're not going to crash. That might have been that.
It's in the damn book, man. If you have a vibration, don't use it. If it's in the throttle quadrant, don't touch it.
No,
it's in the book.
I'm with you. I know who the expert on the engines is. I know who that is.
Yeah, he didn't, did he?
No, he didn't. No.
So we land and the maintenance kid comes up and he starts laughing at me, telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I kick him off the flight deck, bring up a 7 level, and we button up the airplane, and now we got to find a place to stay. And that had to be the funniest damn thing I'd ever heard in a combat zone.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
Get over there to the lodging after we ride in this beat up, dusty, gnarly, nasty truck right down the fence line with Haji standing outside the fence line, just watching, taking notes and everything. And I'm thinking, motherfuck, I'm going to get killed. I'm not even going to be in an airplane. That's going to suck.
Not the only time I probably had my hand on my weapon.
Right. And I don't think you ever even wore it, man. I think it hung on the back of your seat the whole damn time.
It did. I stuffed it underneath in my nav bag so I didn't have to do it.
So you wouldn't be tempted to use it. Get over there to the lodging. What's that?
I can't confirm or deny that.
Right. Get over to the lodging office. Tell them, hey, we just diverted in here with an in-flight emergency. And the lodging officer says, do you have a reservation? I'm sorry. I thought it was a combat zone and we just diverted here for an emergency. No, I don't have cell coverage at 19,000 feet. Thank you. Son of a bitch. Really? We end up staying in this huge fucking clamshell of a tent with like 300 Army dudes. We have no blankets, no pillows, no change of clothes, no toiletries, no nothing. And I don't even remember what we did that night. I know I went over and I made a phone call to Trish and the kids as they were down in Florida. And I don't know, did we find something to eat? I don't even remember.
I remember eating, but I don't remember if it was that night or if it was the next morning. I don't remember. I just remember that was about the coldest I've ever been.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly.
I don't even know if that thing was heated. So we got in there and I had my the clothes I was wearing and my coat. And I remember putting my coat over me going on. So then thinking, man, these guys do this all the time.
All the time.
This is one night. One night. I don't ever want to do it again, but it's one night.
That's it. One night.
God bless those guys that do it all the time.
And them Army guys, that was supposedly a VIP tent. And I remember one dude was like an Army E7 or E8, and he had been there like 60 something days. He had a throne built out of water boxes and water cases and made himself a room. And
yeah.
Oh my God, those poor guys. Like, what are you waiting on? A ride? Where the fuck do you need to go?
Yeah.
That we can't get you. What? He's like, don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And that was the story for all those guys there. I can't imagine that, man. Just what a clusterfuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we wake up and Justin's got his face swelled shut from some kind of allergy or something. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God. Amazing. Yeah. Now, where were you when we got home? Because we were supposed to go to Bog. And the only reason I remember all this is.
Well, you wrote it down, didn't you?
I wrote it down.
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I remember the next day, I think I even told the pilot, I go, look, if they try to refrag us somewhere, you got to tell them no. Because nobody slept, nobody. Right. I mean, it was so cold in there. I don't think anybody slept. I mean, we got to go back to LUD or you got to tell them no.
Yeah.
And I remember we ended up going back to LUD.
We did. We went straight back. We were supposed to go to Bagram. He called up Bagram ATOC. They didn't have anything. Kandahar didn't have anything. So he said, screw it. We're going home.
Yeah.
And as we're taxiing out, another airplane from our unit comes taxiing by us saying they're here to pick up an MRT team and go right past where we're going.
Yeah.
So we could have done that, but tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
But we get back and good old Jim Graves is catching us in his Santa suit.
Yeah.
So that made it that was some laughter right there. And then we get back to ops, and Don sees me as we're walking out and says, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I have to know, did you make a phone call to tell somebody about the situation on the airplane?
I don't know. I don't remember. I talked to the DO about it.
Did you?
I talked to the people in charge about it. From our squadron, from the 73rd. I talked to them about it because I remember the one guy said, "Why didn't you just go to Bagram?" Because they had maintenance. That was like the first thing he said to us. Remember?
I do, because it was yes, it was him.
Yeah.
And I looked right at him and I said, because the 2-engine service ceiling was sub fucking Terranian.
Yeah. Oh. And I said, "What? You can't say that. You can't." I said, "You can't say that to a brand new, aircraft commander. It's because the next time he's going to do it,
he's going to second guess it.
And then and then something worse is going to happen, and they could crash the airplane. You can't say that."
Right.
And he said, I realized when I said it, I shouldn't have said it. I said, "You don't need to tell me that. You need to tell him that."
Right.
You need to tell that captain over there that. I know what the deal is, but you can't say stuff like that. You can't preach safety, and then go, "You guys should have done this because they have maintenance there." You can't say that.
Right. Right. You weren't on the airplane. You weren't part of our crew resource management. You weren't involved in the conversation. We did talk about it.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do it.
You did the safe, right thing. That's what. So.
Right. We're all still here. We all made it.
Yeah.
We all got to have Christmas dinner together.
I remember we got back and had Christmas dinner. I've back on the computer behind me, I've got pictures of our crew, the crew that we're talking about, flashing through the.
Yeah. I've got them too. Maybe I'll try to edit this thing and put some of those crew pictures up, because we had taken a crew picture because it was Christmas Eve and we weren't going to get back until after midnight, I think. And it was going to be Christmas. So we took a picture with the flag, the crew, I think we had a Christmas tree hanging up on the stanchions. It was pretty cool. I'll try to get those pictures out for everybody on YouTube so they can take a look at it.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It sucked, but I wouldn't change it. I might change the way I talk to the pilot, but
hindsight's 2020, brother.
Roger that.
Wish I could change a lot of things too, but I can't.
Well, it makes us better people because we know we could have done it differently.
Yeah.
Instead of being so bullheaded that's the only way. It does give us a different perspective as we get older. Plus, you've got your boys are young, right? How old's Henry now?
Henry's 11 and Alexander's 14.
Jesus. Yeah. So, you still got kids to chase around a little bit and drive everybody. My youngest is getting ready to have his license. So for the first time in 25 years, I won't be driving a kid somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. My oldest, he'll be, I think 15 and a half in November. So he'll be working towards that too. So less than a year, he could be driving.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Good luck. So
what was your deciding factor in retiring? Just time, age, tired of it? What?
I was just tired of it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fly anymore. My back had back problems. I had trouble doing the PT test, and you remember how it was. The PT test was, it was more important than anything else.
Right.
So I just got sick of that, and I was like, you know what? I can retire, so I'm going to retire. So I did.
Exactly.
I don't miss it. I miss the people, most of them, not all of them.
Right.
But I miss the camaraderie of it. I was working in base operations for like 6 months, maybe, before, when it was still contracting. It's government now.
Is it?
Yeah, it switched over to GS. But I was doing that for like 6 months, so I could, they were calling me maybe once or twice a week, maybe, which was, I told everybody it was beer money.
So yeah, absolutely. Why not?
So that was nice, and I got to see everybody, and I got sick of them. I just said, no, I want to come back in and work for a while.
Right. Right. Exactly. I like that kind of gig. That's a good gig.
Yeah, I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I didn't want to fly anymore, and I didn't think it was fair to stay in and and then have everybody else pick up the slack and do the deployments. So I retired.
Right. You know, that was a huge deciding factor with me too. Divinity stepped in with me. I made a call home. I was struggling to re-enlist and go to, I think it was 25 or 30. I don't remember which number I was going to re-enlist to. And I went and saw Kelly over at Career Enhancement, Career Advisor, whatever she was called at the time. And, you know, she said, if you're struggling, just look for a sign. You'll get a sign somehow, some way. There'll be a sign for you. Okay. Well, this was a UTA weekend, and that was a Saturday, about 4 o'clock when I saw her. And I went back to my room and I called home to my wife's phone, and my daughter answered, and she was 13, 14 at the time. And I said, why are you answering mommy's phone? She said, well, mom's in the bathroom. I'm like, is everything okay? And she said, Dad, every time you leave, whether it's for 2 days or 2 weeks, it gets harder and harder. And that was it. That was one of my, you know, that was the sign. That was the, okay, time to hang them up, you know?
Yep.
But like you, the PT test was so hard for me with the rods in my back and the blown disc. And, you know, I couldn't do the sit-ups because I didn't bend that way anymore. And I didn't want to go through the whole waiver process every freaking year or 2 years, whatever it was. And it's just time to go. It's a young man's game, no doubt. It's not an old married guy's game anymore, man. It's so many guys, so many deployments. And I think they've deployed 2 or 3 times since I retired.
Oh, at least.
You know, it's not easy on a family anymore. So,
no.
So what are you doing now? Anything you want? Growing that Ron Jeremy porn mustache, or?
Yeah. Well, when I first retired, I'm like, man, I could do all this work around the house, this and that. So I was doing that. I started to do the projects, and I got a couple projects done. I go, man, I gotta pace myself. I gotta slow down. So then I slowed down, and then it went to kind of nothing. So I still have all these projects around the house. Well, you know, the summertime I mow the lawn and do that kind of stuff. That's normal stuff.
Yeah, but you change your own oil and all that good stuff too?
No, not in the cars. No.
Well,
no.
you need to change it in your small engines.
I do in the small. Yeah. Oh yeah. In the.
Well, good.
I consider myself pretty handy. So I was fixing stuff. If somebody had a problem with a lawnmower, I would try to get it running, or a small engine or something like that. I did some of it I couldn't fix, but other things I'm like, dude, if it doesn't work, give it to me. If I can get it to work, that's good. If I can't, then
yeah, it gives you something to mess around with.
What's the harm in it, you know?
Right.
So I fixed a couple things for people here and there. And
well, when you get ready to order your oil for your small engines, you need to check out Live Synthetic Oils on Facebook. That's Ian Colmer. He's an independent AMSOIL distributor, and he's also my editor. So Live Synthetic Oils on Facebook. And I think we'll use code WARMACHINE this week for a 10% discount on your order.
There's your plug.
That's my plug, brother. That's my plug. Like how I did that? That's a professional divert right there. Brought you right back around to it.
Why don't you send me the link for that?
I will.
Because I'm never going to remember that.
I will. Absolutely. I will.
I've been doing that kind of stuff. I'm a Cub Scout. I'm Henry's Cub Scout den leader. So, and I have been for 4 or 5 years now. This is his last year in Cub Scouts. He's a Weebelo. So he'll transition to Boy Scouts next year.
And that's Alex, right?
That's Alexander's already a Boy Scout.
Oh, okay.
So Henry is a Weebelo, which is basically the last year of Cub Scouts. So he'll transition to Boy Scouts here in a couple months, actually, and then I'll probably help the Boy Scouts out. There's an adult.
Good for you.
So
how's your head?
How's my head?
Yeah. How's your mental acuity these days? Are you struggle at all with anxiety or depression? I mean, you sit at home a lot. You don't have a job to go to. Does that ever weigh on you at all?
Well, sometimes I read a lot. You know, I have projects. Remember, we got a dog, so the dog helps. But yeah, I contacted the VA, and I'm doing an online meeting for 30 minutes every 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
With the VA,
good.
You know, just because I would tend to have a short temper. And so I
think we all do.
to be better with that. And I'm on medication too that I have been for a few years. I just started the VA online thing here probably, I think it was just prior to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Maybe sooner than that, but it's been less than 6 months, I think. So that helps. She gave me some pointers and stuff to do, and so that helps. And then I think the medication helps. I call it my compliance medication. So,
I call it my I'm not going to kill anybody today medicine.
well, yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I think that.
I got to the point where I'd cry 4 or 5 times a day, just start squirting tears for whatever fucking reason. I had no idea what it was. And, we had the discussion earlier about the darkest day and the meds from the VA and everything. And man, the side effects from some of that stuff, dude, I gained like 70 fucking pounds when I first retired. I had zero energy. I'd fall asleep on the couch at 5 o'clock. Everything was a short temper. I'd get pissed off at everything for anything. And I would stay that way the whole day, could never come out of it. Now with the civilian docs and the civilian meds, I'm doing much better. I think I really want to have the wives on at some point so that they can talk about, because we all have our own opinion or perception of ourselves. I want to know what the wives thought, especially the ones that stayed with us. The ones that stayed with us are saints. I have to, they're just saints. Dawn knew you when you were a drinker, not a heavy drinker. I mean, you cut it way back when you met Dawn and got married, but she's still with you through retirement and deployments. And, that's a huge change of life. That's a huge adjustment. And, Trisha's still with me now. It'll be 21 years, married in June, and 24 together. And, Hacker Jason Rutledge was part of my first episode, and him and Jamie have been together since high school. Same stuff, been through the Marine Corps, deployments, transition, all that stuff. I'd like to get their perception on how they think we were and how they think that we've changed since then, because it's not easy. It's a daily grind, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
You can't, it's not a cure all, fix all. Take a pill once or go to one meeting and you're better.
Yeah.
I don't see you having a short fuse. Either you kept it together really, really well while we were in the airplane, or you hit it really, really well.
Well, I had my moments on the airplane. I had my moments. So I tried to, I tell the therapist now, I said, I think it's different now because, I knew how to handle things on the airplane. I had my moments, but if something went wrong, probably 95% of the time, I knew what to do about it. And
we had a book.
We had a book, or I knew what was going wrong, or I could fix it. But at home, I don't know how to deal with my children.
Right.
I don't know. I'm trying to be better. I don't know how to. So I tend to get very anxious and pulled up about it, and so I have to step back and take a moment. And the biggest thing that she told me is if you take a step back, you need to tell them you're taking a step back. Just don't walk away.
Yes. Communication.
I need a moment. I will be back in like 5 minutes.
And
I get back to it rather than just getting frustrated and irritated and yelling. I say, give me 5 minutes and I'll be right. Let me compose myself and I'll be right back. So I'm trying to do that. It doesn't always work.
No,
but
it doesn't.
But at least I'm making the attempt. Where over there, on the airplane or even in the squadron, it's like, all right, I can deal with this. I know how these people are, whatever,
Right.
So I think I could handle it better because I've seen it for 28 years and I dealt with it. But with the wife and the children, it's just like, okay, I don't know. We'll see.
It's interesting because, you and I shared a lot of time on the airplane and off and did all that kind of stuff. And to hear you say that you struggled at home too, with being a husband and a father. When I had I call it a minor breakthrough with my therapist, that was my complaint. I'm like, look, I know the Air Force. I know how to get through that airplane, that mission, that job, that weekend, that trip, whatever. I don't know how to be a husband. I don't know how to be a father. I was always gone, and, you know, home and gone, home and gone. And, you know, Trish took care of everything. And when I was single and didn't have a wife, I had a neighbor who was on my checking account, who had keys to my truck, keys to my house. He had my power of attorney, my will. He had all that stuff, and he took care of everything. So now when we're retired, we are exactly what we did not want to become, which is institutionalized. That's the only thing that I know. And we can say whatever and fuck it, and that's just how they are at the military. But when we come home, for some reason, we want to try to control everything. We want to try and not use the same shit that we used in the military. We want to try and be a civilian, and we don't know how.
Yeah.
You know, it's been 4 years since I had that suicide attempt, and that was the last huge argument with my wife. The last big one was that day. And I've gotten to the point now where when she pisses me off, which is, you know, pretty much daily because we're married and we both work from home now, you know, but I'm not pissed off anymore. It's, you know, that's who she is, you know, it's a whatever. And you take a moment to process it and think, you know, is this really worth getting upset about? Do I really need to win this argument? Probably not.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing I do want to tell you is you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for those therapy sessions, my brother. You got my number, and you need to pick up that phone and call me.
I know.
I am not a licensed therapist or a psychiatrist, but I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
You just need to BS once in a while.
That's it. You just need to vent. You know, yesterday, my shoulder, I injured my shoulder on active duty at 19. I tore it up. They didn't do anything for 7 years. It just got progressively worse. I got it fixed in 99, 2002. Like I said, at JRTC, I fell and tore it all up again. Just in February of 19 or 20, I don't remember. I had another surgery to clean it all up. I've had multiple cortisone shots over my lifetime, and I think I had 3 last year. I just got another one 2 weeks ago. And yesterday, for whatever reason, the pain was to the point where it had made me nauseous and uncomfortable in that shoulder. And I just reached out to a buddy, Albert Wooden. He's on the podcast a couple of times, who was involved in a very serious accident that nearly took his leg. And he's dealt with the opiate addiction. He's dealt with the depression, the anxiety from the pain, and wondering if you're ever going to get better. So I just threw a text out, and I'm like, bro, I got to tell you, this pain today is unbearable. And he finally just texted back that last night, and we ended up talking for like 30 minutes. And it doesn't have to be about the shoulder. It's just, I need somebody who understands exactly what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, we try so hard to be soloists and do everything ourselves. And it's not possible, man. Nobody got anything achieved by doing it on their own. And if they do tell you that, then they're a narcissistic egomaniac and they're not really happy.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Got anything to add to that?
No, I agree with that. Sometimes, no, really. Sometimes you just got to talk to somebody. It's not a big deal, you know?
Yeah, it's not about fixing anything. It's just about getting it off your chest, letting it go, and letting somebody else hear it.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I stopped. My arm hurt so bad. I just stopped my wife in the kitchen and I just hugged her. She's like, "What's the matter with you?" I'm like, "I am just in a lot of pain right now, and I just need to relax for a second."
Yeah.
You know, and I feel comfortable holding you. Yeah, I'm sappy. Yeah, you know, whatever. But, you know, I felt better for 30 seconds or a minute, whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so let some of that shit go. So that's about all I got for you there, Chris. What do you think?
I think that's enough.
Okay. Hey, I want to have you down for our Safe 22 hike on May 6th or May 1st. I'm sorry. May 1st this year. We'll be down at the Carroll County Fairgrounds or Carroll County Vet Center right now. May 1st, Safe 22 raise awareness hike. Would love to have you down. Come see us, hang out for the day. Going to have vendors and going to try to get hooves involved. They talked to them the other day. They want to bring down a horse and do a little demonstration of how their equine therapy works. We're going to have Chris Miller come down, show off his Trax chair. He is an injured Marine who fell 50 feet and got all kinds of hardware in him. And he's got a service dog from Dogs for Our Brave, Zulu, who's absolutely incredible. He's going to show off some of Zulu's skills. We might even get the executive director from Dogs for Our Brave to come out and talk to people about how these service dogs work. Are they balanced dogs? Are they therapy dogs? You know, what kind of dogs they are. And the interesting thing about Dogs for Our Brave is they use rescues. They don't go out and buy purebreds. They use rescue dogs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
a good idea.
It's pretty incredible. Love to have you down. We're going to have Hogs Helping Heroes, which is a local organization here. If you can't pay your water bill or your electric, or you need a garage door fixed, and you know, they know people that'll do that at no cost to the veteran. So if you're struggling, reach out. You know, I say it every time, but you know, don't be too proud to ask for help, man. You know, JohnnyMoMedia.com, save22.vet. Yeah, reach out, dfob.org, hooves.us. You know, reach out. All these sites are linked on my website and the save22.vet website too. Call the 1-800 number for Save 22, 1-833-I-SAVE-22. You'll get in touch with one of us, one of the board members, one of our advocates will get back with you, no doubt. If you're having thoughts of suicide, or you just can't control things and it's an emergency, which interestingly enough, or not interesting, but sad. One of my good friends, Donnie Harbert, is a work group manager for the VA, and he works on the Veteran Assistance Hotline, Suicide Crisis Hotline. He said last year at Christmas time in 2019, there were 1,700 calls a day. In 2020, there were 2,100 calls a day. So the word's getting out, but it's sad because when a veteran reaches out like that, it's normally or usually that they have made the decision to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as we talked earlier, it's not the answer. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yes. And everything in our life is temporary. Everything. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. If you need help with that, call us. We'll help you out. The Veterans Crisis Line is 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. And if you call your local VA clinic, I guess they're called, or VA hospital, the message now when you first dial in tells you if you're having thoughts of suicide. I think it's press 7 or call the Vet Crisis Line or go to your nearest emergency room. We did help an individual a couple of weeks ago who was having a breakdown and just couldn't handle things. And we got him over to an emergency room, got him calmed down. And the next day he made a call with his head doctor, and he called back a couple of weeks later and says, man, I thank you. You know, life is so much better now. Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks, but you know what? I've got some tools now in my toolbox and I'll be able to help myself better. And I can't thank you guys enough. So it does work. It does work. We're not flashy. We're not high dollar like Wounded Warrior or those guys, but we get results. You know, we help you build your own network so that you can help yourself. So with that, Chris, I thank you for being on. It's always awesome to talk to you. Always awesome to talk to you.
Well, thanks. I enjoyed myself. Really did.
Good. You should. You should. Hey, I'm gonna have to come up, or you and I are gonna have to meet halfway and grab lunch.
All right, I'm in.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself, man.
You too. Good to see you, John.
Talk to you later.